Now, Johannesburg residents are facing an uncertain start to the year when it comes to water supply. Water throttling has made a return this week over and above level 1 water restrictions that are already in place. Now, let's discuss this further with Johannesburg Water spokesperson Nombuso Shabalala. Very good evening to you, Nombuso. Thank you for joining us. We certainly appreciate it. We wish it were under better circumstances, especially for the residents of Johannesburg. Now, which areas are you targeting and what levels of restrictions can we anticipate?
So good evening, Audrey, and thank you very much for having us. So in terms of water throttling, we have a schedule that is on a rotational basis. So the same area is not affected. So today we issued the schedule for the throttling. It typically begins at 9 p.m. up until 4 a.m. the following morning. And then that's how it goes every day.
Yeah. So according to your statement, you're planning on replenishing the reservoirs. Why do we keep having this issue? We're also seeing water leakages that are being reported by community members who are really just so frustrated that the municipal response is always delayed. And there's such a waste of this precious commodity that is so needed in the city.
Okay. So the first part of your question, the reason why we implemented throttling meaning reducing flow and pressure. This was introduced on the 8th of November last year and was temporarily halted during the rainwater maintenance, which was in early December. Then after our systems had recovered and the areas had a stable water supply, we then reintroduced the throttling from the 27th of December to date.
Yeah.
And then in terms of leaks, we do have various programs, Audrey, that the entity is currently busy with to address those issues. So we've got a leak detection program, and we have ongoing infrastructure maintenance to ensure that we minimize the issue of leaks and bursts pipe.
Yeah, even with that, it appears to not be effective because really people keep complaining about the same thing over and over again, and I'm sure you're aware of this. But perhaps let's take a look at the root problem, the issue of infrastructure upgrades that are needed, especially with the increase in demand and the supply is just not matching that. What then happens with this 27 billion rand that is needed by Joburg Water to ensure that these upgrades are implemented?
So Johannesburg Water has various partnerships, and there are various programs and entities that we've partnered with. Just this week, we did announce that National Treasury and the Department of Water and Sanitation have partnered with Joburg Water to ensure that we upgrade our infrastructure. And that partnership is around ensuring that we do have the required funding or the required budget that is needed to upgrade our infrastructure.
Is that how you also intend on dealing with the future population and also urban migration as the demand keeps growing? Do you think that perhaps the implementation of that plan will be enough to cater for everyone that's in the city that needs water?
It will, Audrey. Sometime last year, the Joburg Council approved our turnaround strategy, which looked at those issues, which look at population growth and related issues. So that is covered in our turnaround strategy, and that is factored into the infrastructure maintenance that we are currently conducting and the funding that we are getting from our National Treasury and the Department of Water and Sanitation, including the City of Johannesburg.
And in terms of contingency plans, I can tell you for a fact, the last time that Johannesburg had water restrictions, a lot of people were complaining, myself included, when it came to water tanks that were promised to residents. Most of the areas, especially in the south, simply did not get any water, and they literally had to go and buy water from the shops. Can you allay their fears this time around that there will be enough to go around for everyone? Is it something that can happen?
So the issue of water tankers, when we have a huge planned maintenance such as the one that Rand Water conducted, has been addressed, and the entity will ensure that we have adequate alternative water supply through the provision of roaming and stationary water tankers to the areas that were affected. And I can allay the fears of the residents of the city of Johannesburg that that won't be necessarily a problem in the future.
Is Joburg in danger of day zero?
No, Joburg is not in danger of day zero. I can definitely assure our residents that.
So how long can we expect this to happen, this water throttling that you are going to implement?
Sure. So as I mentioned, and as you alluded to in your intro, every year from the 1st of September up until the 31st of March the following year, we go into level 1 water restrictions. And this is not unique to Johannesburg. Most metros in Gauteng are under level 1 water restrictions. And in addition to that, the water throttling or the water restrictions were implemented due to the fact that our bulk supplier, Rand Water, alerted us to the fact that we have overconsumption of water, and we needed to put in place interventions to ensure that we stabilize our consumption.
Yeah.
Hence the introduction of the throttling.
So if you go to most communities, they're elderly people that don't really have the physical prowess to be carrying, buckets of water and going to the water tankers to get water for themselves. What is the city doing? I suppose you can't speak for the city, but Joburg Water, do you have any plans for the elderly in our communities?
So I can speak for the city and I can speak for Johannesburg Water in that, for example, during the planned rainwater maintenance that we had last month, in terms of providing stationary tankers, there were areas that were prioritized, such as old age homes, such as hospitals and clinics. So in that case, the elderly didn't have to go in queue for water. They had stationary water tankers, which were refilled as and when was required.
Yeah. Let's talk about the illegal connections then, because I think that's something that's been a perennial problem throughout. How are you going to tackle that? Because I assume and I imagine that it also contributes to some of the water supply issues that the city is encountering.
It definitely does, Audrey. We have a mass disconnection program that is currently ongoing, and this will be intensified, particularly in areas like informal settlements where we see the highest water losses because those areas have connected to our network illegally. But this is not only unique to informal settlements, but in other residential areas as well, including industries and business. So we do have an ongoing program where we are disconnecting illegal connections to ensure that that water is accounted for and we don't lose water through illegal connection.
It appears this time around there is an intensified blitz or operation to ensure that these illegal connections are dealt with. Why now?
So it has always been there, Audrey. I think now it was just for Johannesburg Water to amplify the messaging around that we will be intensifying illegal disconnections. But this is a program that is ongoing that we currently conduct as Johannesburg Water. So it's not something that is only beginning now.
Yeah, I just want us to quickly go back to the issue of leakages and the turnaround time when consumers speak to the municipality for them to bring their technical people to come and deal with these issues. Perhaps you can paint a picture for us, or just explain for us what it entails from when a person asks for help from the time that municipal workers come and look at this issue.
Sure. So how it works, Audrey, is that we would receive, so a customer would log a call that they either have a burst pipe or a leak, and then we have turnaround times, and we are working at improving our turnaround time from 48 hours to 24 hours in terms of attending to a leak or burst.
I can imagine 48 hours, 2 days of this huge pipe with water just bursting out. Is that the best way to look at it?
So it's not the best way to look at it. Hence, I'm saying in terms of also our turnaround strategy, the time has been lessened or minimized, that this has to be addressed in 24 hours or less, depending on the severity of the burst.
Nombuso Shabalala speaks for Johannesburg Water. Thank you so much for your time this evening, ma'am. Certainly appreciate it.
Thank you.